Welcome to Telly Talk, where we talk about what is on the telly, and by that, we mean what's on our minds. Because we're Telly. I'm Tyler, and that's Soul. And on our minds, Soul has a thought
I have a thought.
that they would like to share with the class.
I have my one thought of the day. If you'd like to hear my other thoughts of the day, you should go check out a TikTok. But my one thought of the day that I had today is... Okay, I don't know about you, but this daylight savings really fucks me up because it's dark at like 5 p.m. The sun sets at 4:30.
Literally.
And it's dark at 5 p.m. and I feel like I have to be in bed at 5. And so
I forgot daylight savings was still a thing, and it
Oh,
was
me
like
too.
1:30, and I went to the bathroom for half an hour, and then I came out of the bathroom, and then it was 1, and I was like, something's wrong here.
I was across the country at the time, and I was in a hotel, and I woke up at like 7 a.m. and the clocks in the hotel were all wrong, and I was so confused. And my parents were like knocking at my door at like 8, and I was like, what is happening? And all the time, it's fucked up. It fucked me up. And the daylight savings got me thinking about the sun, because so the sun at noon is supposed to be at the peak point in the sky, right? So like, does daylight
Right.
savings fuck with that? Like, is it not at...
Have you ever
top-
noticed that, like, sometimes the sun is at its peak point in the sky at, like, 2 p.m. instead
No.
of noon? I have. and
I don't look at the sun very
Just-
often.
and I just think that it's wrong sometimes.
So do you think that, like, the daylight
Yes.
savings fucks with that? Or just, like,
It must,
In general,
because the sun stays
the
the
world
same.
rotation?
The sun stays the same, but our clocks go back, so it must fuck.
So does that make sundials inaccurate, like, all the time?
Yes.
So sundials are a very inaccurate point of time.
I
Time
feel like
measure
got to be,
of time.
because the sun, like, time is, like, a thing we made up
Yeah.
relatively recently compared to when, like, sundials were used, right? So I feel like the fact that we
Well, what
just,
did
change
sundials determine before
our time.
modern time? Just like when
Oh,
the sun
God.
set?
I guess. I don't know.
I feel like it was just like, how much day do we have left? Where I feel like people who use, like civilizations who use sundials would mark different points on the sundial to like, oh, this is when sunset
Dinner.
is, this is what sunrise is. Dinner is around this point. High noon is when the shadow's here. I feel like that's what they used it for. And us using
Probably.
sundials as like hourly clocks doesn't really work because
We're talking out of our
We're
ass
moving.
right now. We could be
We really
totally
are.
inaccurate with how time was invented and how sundials were used. We're bullshitting you guys right now.
we are. We're just making this up, but this is what we think. This is our prediction. We're just
We're just
Don't
we're
listen
making
to
things
us.
up as we go along.
and
Don't
okay.
believe us, but listen to us.
Add to our thoughts. Add to our thoughts with actual facts. These are not facts. What we're saying. So does the position of the Earth around the sun fix the sun not being at peak at noon? Because when we rotate around the sun, it's like the northern hemisphere is closer, and then on the other side, it's like farther. So like that's what seasons are, and also daylight savings.
Yeah.
So like, does that fix it because we do it in the spring and then in the fall, or is that just for the farmers? Because daylight savings is for farmers. That's why
That's
it was
a
created.
It's a myth.
Is it?
It was actually created because they wanted it to get dark earlier, so when people would drive home from work, they would see the Christmas lights light up the stores.
Is that really? Hold on, I need to.
Deadass.
I need to look this up. I don't believe you.
I'm so serious. The farmer thing's a myth. If you really think about the farmer thing, it doesn't make sense. Like, it really doesn't make much sense. The whole farmer thing.
Daylight savings was from the First World War. By the United States to follow the lead of several European countries who adopted the measure to save on fuel costs during the war by adding extra hours of sunlight during the day. To save fuel. What? How does it save fuel?
Like, there's a bunch of companies that lobby daylight savings time in government to make it still a thing, because companies sell more products because they'll see the store lights when they drive home, and they'll want to stop at the store and, like, go in. And, like, Big Golf, I know you've heard of Big Pharma, but have you ever heard of Big Golf? Because Big Golf lobbies daylight savings time. I'm so serious. Big Golf lobbies daylight savings.
But when I drive past stores at night and see the lights on, if it's dark out, I think every store is closed. It doesn't matter.
Business lobbying giants, including the National Retail Federation and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, have advocated for permanent daylight saving time to boost the economy.
But what does it mean by saving fuel costs?
I don't think it makes sense, because there's still the same amount of hours. The sun is out the same amount of hours in the day. Either the sun rises at 7 and sets at 6, or the sun, like, rises at 6 and sets at 5. Like, it's the exact same amount of hours of sunlight. I don't think it makes any sense to say that it increases the amount of sunlight.
I totally forgot that Arizona doesn't do daylight savings. That's crazy. Arizona switches time zones twice a year because they don't do daylight savings.
I have an article for you. Okay, conserve fuel, blah, 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 but then...
But how does it conserve fuel?
It doesn't make any sense.
How does it conserve fuel?
Let me get to the lobbyists.
It says farmers lobby daylight savings for agriculture. Weren't we supposed to, like, cancel out daylight savings last year? But, like, they didn't go through with it?
I thought we were supposed to get rid of it.
Why didn't we get rid of it?
It's stalled in Congress, apparently. Okay, here's the Christmas thing. Let me find the Christmas thing.
It saved coal consumption? How, though?
No, it wasn't started to help farmers. The farmers had a lobby that campaigned against daylight savings time. The farmers did not want daylight savings time because it gave them 1 hour less of sunlight to send their crops to the market. And farmers don't like it because cows like to be milked on a schedule, and moving the clocks disrupts the cow schedule. And
how? Cows don't understand time. They just move their cow schedule milking time.
Yeah, because if the cows get, like, milked at the same time every day, at 1 p.m. every day, but then if 1 p.m.'s an hour earlier than 1 p.m. was before, the cows are going to be mad.
Well, then just milk them at noon.
Right?
How does it save coal?
Okay, I found the energy thing. I found it. People think it might help conserve energy. Between January 1974 and April 1975, the entire country went on daylight saving time year-round to combat the energy crisis, and it only saves a tiny fraction of our electric bills, because I think it's because the sun's sets, or the sun's up, or I don't know, the way the sun is.
But if it's darker longer, wouldn't we use our lights more?
Right?
What are they trying to do?
I never understood it.
I have beef with people who turn on big lights, like, you know, your ceiling lights during the day. Like, why do you have them on during the day? The daylight, the sun is your light. The sun is your big light. So why are you turning on your big lights in the middle? No.
It's cloudy.
Oh my God,
they have the sun's on the other side of the house.
I get so mad when my dad turns on the lights in his house when there's windows on every single wall surrounding him. It's bright as fuck. And I'm like in the kitchen making something with all the lights off because it's still bright. I can see everything. And he comes in and turns on all of the lights. And I'm like, why did you do that? And he's like, well, I can't see. And I'm like, dude, you have to be literally blind. Like fully blackout blind to not see what's going on right now. Like I'm honestly blinded. I should be wearing sunglasses right now. And you're turning on all of the lights in the house? And I'll just like turn them back off. And then he flicks them back on. And then I turn them back off. And then he turns them back on. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Can you at least let me finish in the kitchen and let me leave and then you can turn your lights on? Please? I'm not a lights person. I hate lights.
The 1980s saw the formation of the National Daylight Saving Time Coalition, and it was comprised of wealthy corporations from the industries of golf. You heard that right, folks.
Big golf.
Big golf is controlling your clocks.
Big golf.
Candy, fast food, convenience stores, barbecue equipment, and amusement parks. Today, we're talking about dreams.
Oh, yeah, we're talking about,
We are 15
dreaming.
minutes into Telly Talk, and we're talking about
our
dreams.
Sorry, we went off.
Our recent dreams, our childhood
about
dreams, what our dreams are like, how our dreams are different. We went on about daylight savings times for 15 goddamn minutes. It should be its own podcast episode.
Honestly,
a little special
okay.
side feature.
Sorry, I went off on daylight savings because I was complaining that I should be sleeping at odd times of the day. It's fucking up my sleep schedule.
Why you brought it up?
Yes. And I was gonna segue into that, but we're just cutting off the segue and we're just going straight into the
Straight to the corn.
Corn? We're talking about dreams. Okay, I have a question for you. Do you
What's your question?
dream? Hello?
Hello?
Lost him.
Oh, was that the full question? Just
Yes.
do I dream?
Yeah.
I
Well, I
thought you
have
were gonna
more
be like, do you
questions.
dream in color? I thought you were
Yeah,
gonna say,
that was
do
my
you
next
dream
question.
from like first person point of view? But
Yeah,
I didn't know the question was just do you dream?
Well, I'm
Yes,
I'm
that's what
getting
having this
there.
podcast
I'm
is.
getting there. Do you dream?
Yes, I dream.
Okay.
Yes,
Do
I
you
dream.
dream in color or black and white? Because I've
Color.
seen people strictly dream
Don't
in
you
black
dream
and
in
white.
limited color?
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like sometimes
Did
it's
you
like
know
full
that
saturation.
when TVs were black and white, when TVs were in black and white, people were more likely to dream in black and white?
Actually,
think
that
that's
makes
a cool
a lot
fact.
of sense.
You dream in like a weird like low saturation dark mode.
It's
type
like
thing.
yeah,
It's
I
usually
dream
nighttime,
in
and
dark
it's-
mode.
You like your
It's-
dreams are always at nighttime.
it's in
and,
color.
Like, low saturation.
Yeah, it's in color, but it's like it's very rarely vibrant and during the day. Like I dream in dark mode. It's
Do you-
always night and
do
it's
you
always
know-
minimal color.
Do you know
Do I
how
know?
people say like you can't read like you can't use your phone or read like time in your dreams?
Oh yeah. You can't read.
That's not true because I've done it. In
Me
my
too.
dream, I had a dream that I got a notification on my phone and I like checked it and I saw that like my friend called me 5 minutes ago and I missed the call and then I like checked the time to see what time they called me and I was like utilizing my phone and reading the time on my phone because I missed a call. That was like a year or two ago, but I deadass had a dream where and I was like, this breaks the dream rule laws.
It's not. I mean, you can use your phone in your dream, and I don't think I can't read in my dream. Like whenever I try and read something, it's just like a scribbled mess, and then I realize I'm dreaming, and I'm like, whoa, this is a dream, and then I start lucid dreaming, and it's weird.
I don't lucid dream.
I used to lucid dream like all the time, and then I stopped trying to lucid dream, and I haven't in like maybe 6 years. I actually remember my lucid dreams like so vividly.
A dream I had recently. I'll get into this dream more later, but I want to start by saying it's the second longest dream I've ever had. And by that, I mean, once I had a dream that felt like it lasted 6 months, like in the dream world, like, it was terrifying. This was like a nightmare that lasted a full 6 months, and I lived through the entire thing in, like, over the span of 6 months, and then I woke up.
What's that thing called? Shifting. You were, like, shifting?
Yeah, that's what it felt like, and it was terrifying. The best way I'll talk about that dream later too, the really long one. The best way I can explain it is, like, I went into the upside down.
That's terrifying.
But this dream it was also a nightmare, and it was a weird hodgepodge of, I watched it for the first time the night before. It was a weird hodgepodge of, like, it was me and my friends, but also it was, like, the Stranger Things kids, and then also Pennywise was the villain, and also it took place over the course of multiple different time periods, and we were time traveling between different time periods, and there was this part, I'm only talking about this because we're talking about reading, there was this part where there was this, like, secret message written in Greek on the wall, and I was able to, like, read it.
Greek.
And I knew it was in Greek. I don't know Greek, and I was just very aware that there was this Greek message written on the wall, and I was, like, reading it in Greek. And it was, like, a whole plot.
Percy Jackson.
I'm Percy Jackson in my dreams, yes. Do you dream, as yourself or as other people?
I dream only as myself.
I also only dream myself. I have been another person to dream a grand total of 3 times in my entire life.
Interesting.
I always dream as myself. But I have a friend who is never themselves in a dream. Every single dream she has, it's like a pilot episode. And basically, it's just, like, she's a random character in a random plot. Like, she'll just be this random pirate guy
That's
who's,
so
like,
weird.
gay and on a pirate ship. And then the pilot episode ends, and then the next time she dreams, she's in an entirely different, like, setting. Her dreams are just her being different characters, like, different genders, different ages, like, different living times, and she just plays characters in different pilot episodes, and that's how she dreams. And it's fascinating to me, because she gets a lot of really good, like, story ideas from it, and sometimes she recreates them in The Sims.
That's so interesting.
Right? Like, once I had a dream I was Spider-Man. Once I had a dream in that really long...
Were you Spider-Man as Spider-Man? Or were you, like, Peter Parker?
It was like I was Peter Parker. Once I woke up from a dream, and I was fully convinced for about a good 30 seconds until, like, I fully woke up. But I woke up from a dream and I was fully convinced, like, in my heart of hearts, that I was Harry Potter. Like, I woke up and I was like, what am I doing here? This isn't my bed. Like, what, like, where am I? Like, I was Harry Potter. I know that sounds so ridiculous. And then, like, I snapped out of it and I was like, what am I doing? I'm me. I'm in my bed. But I was like, this isn't Hogwarts. Like, what am I, Harry Potter, doing in this random bed? Like, it was so weird. I am so serious. I woke up from a dream and was
That's so interesting.
fully in my soul. I was Harry Potter, and I was confused about where I was because this is not Harry Potter's room.
That can happen. It can happen, like, you know, those, like, split personalities where people have become, like...
I split personalities with Harry Potter.
Yeah, where they're actually, like, fully Harry Potter.
Oh my
It's,
God.
like, weird.
That just... It happened one time, and I don't know if I was Harry Potter in my dream or not, but I just remember waking up for 30 seconds. Like, you know when, like, people have, like, a stroke and they start speaking in a British accent?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
that's,
yeah.
like, that's not what happened, but that's the best way I can explain what was happening. I woke up, and I was just, like, 30 seconds I was Harry Potter, and then I was snapped out of it. I think in the dream, I was Peter Parker, not myself.
Interesting. Don't we only dream during REM or non-REM?
Yes.
REM.
You dream during REM.
Which is, like, the last 2 hours. It's, like, the first 2 hours and the last 2 hours that you're sleeping.
It's stage 5 of the sleep cycle, yeah. And it's always curious to me, because sometimes when my alarm goes off, but I'm in the middle of a dream, I, like, snooze it, and then I go back to sleep, and then my dream just continues. So it's like, how did I get back to REM that fast?
That happens very rarely to me, but sometimes it does happen, and it's very interesting. For me, my time periods are very consistent. Like, for me, let me see. I have this map that I made in high school, I think, freshman year of high school. I made this map of my dream world.
That must have been freshman year.
And on it, it says an hour in my dream world is 10 minutes IRL. So I guess that's how my dreams work. Where I don't have very long dreams. Like, all my dreams consist within one single day. Like, they never go longer than a day.
Mm-mm. Me with my 6-month horror dream and my multi-week long it dream.
But, like, the day can be, like, 52 hours long. But it's still one day. Like, days don't... It's just, like... A day can be as long as it can be. Like, time is just warped in my dreams.
That's how it is for me too, but I'm just like aware that I have been in the dream for like weeks as I'm in the dream.
Do you ever...
And it's so long. It's just like, it's been weeks, but it hasn't been weeks, but it's been weeks in my soul. What were you saying?
In my soul. Do you ever, like... You're, like, going through one dream plot, and then you turn around, and the whole world turns with you, and you're all of a sudden on a new dream plot. Yes. And you're just like, yes, whoa, and then you're just like in the middle of that, and you're like, whoa, how did what?
I don't question it, because I don't like lucid dream. Like, my dreams are just kind of like, yeah, this is my life. Like, it's just like me, and I don't question, like, I'm just like, yeah, this makes sense.
Like, I remember...
Do you know when you dream, and, like, you see a person, but and you're like, that, and it's like, there's gonna be a character, and in my head, I know the character's you, but they look nothing like you.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm just like, yeah, that's Soul.
Yeah.
But it's just like a random guy.
Yeah.
And I just have, like, assigned them as the role.
It's like a bald dude, and I'm like, that's Tyler.
That's Soul.
That's, yep.
Obviously.
Yeah, it's like someone who looks it's like a tall, busty woman. I'm like, that's Tyler.
Yeah, that's Tyler.
That's Tyler. I don't know. That looks exactly like Tyler would. That's 2 Tylers.
Okay. Where is your camera in your dream? Like, is your camera in your eyeballs, or is your camera outside of your eyeballs?
Like,
you know what I mean?
Like,
where's the shot
POV?
from? Yeah, where's your POV?
It kind of changes. It's mostly in, like... It's kind of, like, over-the-shoulder first person.
That's how I explain mine. Like, you know when you read a book, and the book's in third person, but it's, like, third person, but it's only one person's third person, where it's, like, he went to the store, and then he did this, and it's, like, it's like, first person and third person combined.
Yes.
Mine's like that sometimes, and sometimes it's literally in my eyeballs. So, like, it's like a mix of, like, a weird, like, it's third person, but it's following me, like, it's right over my shoulder.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's just in my eyeballs.
It's never third person, like, I'm looking at myself, like, front-facing self. It's always either behind me or over the shoulder, or, like, I'm looking through my eyes.
Sometimes it's, like, you know when you have a memory from your early childhood, but you've, like, remembered the memory so much the memory changed, and then you, like, see yourself in the memory? Does that happen to you?
Yes.
That's sometimes how my dreams are, where it's, like, I remember my 3rd birthday, I rode a tricycle down the hallway, but when I remember that memory, I see myself riding the tricycle down the hallway, which is obviously not how it should be remembered.
Yeah.
And that's how my dreams can be, where it's, it's my point of view, but sometimes I still, like, see myself the way early childhood memory is.
Oh, yeah. That's how I remember myself in preschool. Like, I can remember, like, things I did in preschool, but I see them as if somebody's watching me rather than
it's like someone took, like, a little video
eyes.
of you, and it's, like, that's how you remember the memory.
But, like, how do you know what that looks like?
Right? Isn't that trippy?
It's so weird. You know that thing? I saw a post recently, I forget where, but there's a post that said you can look at something and know what it tastes like without ever tasting it before. Like, you know what the texture is going to be. Even if you've never tasted anything like it before, you know what it's going to feel like on your tongue. You know?
That's interesting. I tried, like, this weird artichoke dish at a fancy restaurant a couple weeks ago, and I didn't know what it was going to taste or feel like, and when I ate it, I literally said out loud, like, I've never tasted something like this before. Like, I didn't have the vocabulary or anything to compare it to. It was, like, a whole new flavor that I never experienced before. And I didn't like it, but I didn't hate it. It was just like, okay, I'm not gonna eat any more of it, but that was like an interesting experience. Like I'll chew it and I'll swallow it and I won't eat any more, but it was like, okay, that was cool. But it was like, I was just in shock because it was just an entirely new flavor that I didn't know existed before.
I wish I could experience that.
Like, I just like didn't have words for it. It was just like, wow, I didn't know that was a flavor. That's so interesting. New flavors exist in the world. Do you die in your dreams ever?
Yes.
What happens when you die?
It goes
Do you have an
black.
example? Mine too. When have you died in your dreams? Because I have very specific situations I die, and they're always the same.
During the fall time, I have, like, Halloween nightmares. Like, since I was a child, like, literally, like, 5, 6, I've had the same set of nightmares that happen only during the fall.
I remember you telling me that, like your, like, little dream world just goes into, like, Halloween Town mode.
Yeah.
Every
like,
October, your dream world has, like, a clock, and it's like, oh, it's October time to get spooky.
Yeah, my dream world has, we'll talk more about my dream world, but I have, like, these set of specific nightmares that I remember, like, they're memories, and I dream them, like, maybe once every other year. I don't dream them as much as I did when I was a kid, but there's this one dream that I'm in, like, my hometown, but not, it's kind of like, it's super hilly. Like, there's huge hills, and you know where, like, Walmart was? It kind of
Yes.
took place mostly there, but it's, instead of houses, like, everywhere, like, take out your neighborhood and, like, the neighborhood behind is there a neighborhood behind the Walmart? No.
Yeah, there's a neighborhood behind
Yes.
Walmart.
So take that out.
There's a neighborhood there.
Like, take all the neighborhoods out except for mine and the hospital.
And, like,
and just put in farmland.
Walmart. Okay.
And
I see it.
in front of the Walmart, you put a gas station. And put the Walmart on top of, like, a huge hill, and everything's super hilly.
Okay.
And
that's your setting.
That's kind of what my setting is. And so there's this huge monster. I can't even describe it. It's kind of like a huge blob, but it's furry, but it's like a wolf, but it's also like a cyclops goblin thing. I don't know. It's like, just imagine a scary monster.
Like, when you see something in your dream, but there's not really, like, you can perceive it and you know what it looks like, but there's just no vocabulary to get across to someone else what you dreamed.
Yeah.
And it's like, you wish you could, like, download your dream as, like, a movie and give it to someone, because it's just, like, little flashes of, like, and, like, you feel, like, inside of you, you know what happened, but there's just no vocabulary. Because I had a dream once that, like, I was in this area that was kind of like the White House, and these people were inventing this thing. And that's all I can say. And I know what the thing was. It's like, I can see it as, like, a little flash in my mind. It was, like, a structure. It was, like, a thing. It was a white, tall structure. It was a thing. And I don't have the vocabulary to communicate to anyone else what this dream is.
You can't even draw it either, because when you try and imagine it, it's just kind of just
like
a
the impossible
blurry
triangle.
blob.
Right?
Kinda, yeah. It's just like a blurry blob. But, like, in your mind, you're like, I know exactly what it looks like. But then when you try and draw it and, like, try and communicate it, it's just like a blurry blob. And you're just like, I don't know.
Okay, so what I'm going to tell the story of is I'm going to tell 3 childhood dreams I had before the age of 6. These are all dreams I had by the time I was in kindergarten. And they're just, I've been telling these dreams my whole life. They're very funny to me. I want to tell the weird horror dream that lasted a month. I want to tell my it dream. And then I'm going to try my absolute hardest to share 2 dreams I had last week, but I didn't write them down because I just couldn't write them down. It was just like, I don't know what to say. It's just like, there's a story in my mind.
I just want to say that, like, a month ago, I had a dream where I was One Direction's manager, but there was no Louie.
That's
and
like Wattpad.
Louis, it
Oh,
literally
Louis is my
was.
favorite.
Louis didn't
Louis
exist.
is my
It was the four of
favorite.
them, and they all look like
Aw.
off-brand versions of
Not even
themselves, like
worth
Walmart
it.
versions.
That's so funny.
And it like wasn't a cover band. It was like actually them, but they look fucked up. And
That's
they
so
just
funny.
it looked like they had plastic surgery or something. And we like went on tour. And it was like there was like a underlining of like people trying to murder us. And it was like a kind of like a spy action sequence. Like I was like their bodyguard or something. It was kind of cool, actually.
So, I have a mild fear of driving in cars, especially on mountains, because when I dream, the only time I ever die in my dream is in car crashes, and it happens pretty frequently. Where
That's so interesting.
sometimes, like, once me and my family in a dream were driving, like, over mountains, and we just drove off the side of the mountain on accident and felt, like, you know, like the pit in your stomach on a roller coaster when you're falling? I felt that, and we were falling into the ground, and we crashed into the ground.
Did you
and the
just
dream went
say
black.
when you're on a roller coaster and you're falling?
Like when you're going down a hill, and, like, you feel the pit in your stomach?
I know what it's like to almost fall off a roller coaster.
Okay. Anyway, it's like I felt that in my stomach, and then we just crashed into the ground, and the dream went black. And I only die in car crashes in my dream, and I'm terrified of getting in a car crash because of it, because it happens, like, kind of often in my dreams. Like, just, like, have you ever had a dream where it was just the same dream again? Like, you just had, like, another dream. Is the same one?
Yes.
Other than your nightmares?
Yes. I can't describe it, but I have a dream world where there's different places in this world that I go to back consistently. It's not the same plot, but I go back to the same places.
Describe your dream world. Explain.
Okay, this is gonna be complicated. I could put a picture of it up on screen. I might have to like blur some stuff. It's very scribbly, but let me get a light because I can't even. Okay, so basically, my dream world is if you drew Earth by memory. Like if you draw the continents by memory, that's what my dream world looks like, which is kind of makes sense because my mind is just creating Earth from my memory.
Yeah.
So it would make sense that it would look like that. And on different parts of the Earth, it's not actually how Earth is structured. There's just different places that I know where they are, but they don't make sense for where they are on Earth. Yeah. So like in northwest Africa, there's this like huge, like massive meadow with this carnival, which is the dark demon dream you were talking about. That's where that is in northwestern Africa. There's this huge floral meadow filled with green and yellow grass, and there's some mountains, and there's a beautiful river. It kind of looks like Candyland, but it's not made of candy. It's just the colors are kind of like that. Like it's super pastel, it's super bright. It's not intensely bright, like it's not super saturated. It's like pastel, and it's like super happy. Like everything's happy, but the carnival, it's run by demons, and nobody knows that but me. And every time I go to that area, behind me, what I can't see, there's always something dark and scary behind me, and then I turn around.
And the carnival's where like my demon was, right?
Yeah. So like I went to the carnival. Like the carnival is kind of like a boardwalk on the ocean.
Okay.
Near the river, because the river leads out to the ocean, and then there's the carnival, and it's kind of next to like one of the giant hilly grassy mountains. And so the carnival is just kind of like a boardwalk carnival. There's a bunch of happy characters that go there. There's also like dancing flowers in the meadow. It's like imagine the happiest place you could ever imagine, like super happy. And you go to this carnival, everyone's super happy. All the game, they have arcade games. They have like that bowling alley carpet in there. That's like the weird funky carpet print. And they have these rides.
Okay.
And one ride goes, like, I think I actually did go on the ride.
That you have such a consistent dream world, because I don't. My dreams are, like, I don't feel like they take place in the same universe. It's usually pretty random. 10% of my dreams take place in either our elementary school or our middle school. Like, that is the setting, and the dream takes place in that building.
School?
Usually in the hallways, or the library, or the cafeteria, or the gym. And I'll go into more detail later, because that's where one of my childhood dreams was, and that's where one of my repeating dreams takes place, and it's a really fun dream. It's basically an extreme game of tag that takes place in the hallways of our middle school, and it's the same dream every time, and it's really fun.
Interesting.
Okay, you keep going. But my, like, I don't have, like, a setting like you do, like a world, where, like, it's always, like, the same. That's so fascinating.
It's strange that I do. I spelled carnival wrong on this paper.
That's fine.
But okay, so me and you go to this carnival, and there's this ride that kind of, like, goes, it's kind of like, it's kind of just like it goes around the whole carnival building, and there's kind of like this open spot where it shows the ocean underneath. Like, they open up the boardwalk, and it's like, you can see, like, the water. But the carnival is, like, dark. Like, when you go in it, it's kind of like you go into, like, you know when you walk into, like, a laser tag place and everything's, like, super dim? That's what it looks like on the inside of this arcade carnival place. And so it's like a normal arcade. Like, imagine like a bowling alley arcade. That's what it kind of looks like. And then there's the ride that goes around the building, like the interior of the building. And then there's like this little open, it kind of goes into the back. And there's the open pool with the ocean water. And then you go back through and you ride around the arcade area. But everyone is super happy and super excited to be there, but I know that there's something wrong. But nobody else believes me or sees it or feels it. And I can just see these, like, black shadow things just around, like, in the corner of my eye. I just see them. And you're trying to convince me to go on this one ride that's, like, broken down and not good. It's just, it gave me bad vibes, and I was like, no, I don't wanna. And you're like, no, like, come on, let's, like, it'll be fun. I'm like, no.
Bro, this stream was just warning you, like, years in advance not to go on that one ride where you almost died.
But it wasn't like a roller coaster. It was kind of just like one of those kiddie rides. And
So
you were like, no, it's gonna be fun. I'm like, no, I don't really feel like it. I'm just gonna go, like, play some games. You go on the ride. And you're like, okay. And so you went on the ride with, like, some other people. I don't know who they were. But you went on the ride with some other people, and I was, like, playing games. And then I started walking into, like, the next room with the more games, but all the games disappeared. Like, it was just an empty arcade room. Like, imagine, like, FNAF.
Okay.
Like, that's what it kind of felt like. And then I walked back into the place where the roller coaster queue was, where you can, like, get on the roller coaster. And that was completely empty as well. And the ride was, like, going around, and, like, you were gone, and I was like, what is happening? And then I went back into the main arcade room, and all the arcade games were still there, but it was, like, empty and dark. And I was like, I'm gonna go now. And so I went outside, and everyone's, like, outside on the boardwalk, like, happy and fun. And then I see you, and I'm like, whoa, how'd you get here? And you're like, oh, the ride ended. And I'm like, cool, I have a bunch of tickets. Do you want to buy stuff? And then we go buy stuff, and then we go and, like, walk through the meadow. We, like, go over the river, over this bridge, onto the meadow. So over on the other side of the river, away from the boardwalk, and I, like, turn around, and I see all these, like, shadow people on the other side of the river. And then I turn back around, and you're standing there, and there's a whole bunch of happy flower people behind you. And I was like, this is so weird. And then I could just see, just in your eyes, just this, like, you had, like, dark shadow eyes. And I was like, there's something in you. And you're like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, no, there's something in you. And then you, like, turn into this shadow person of yourself. And I'm like, that's bad. And then I kind of just go with the flower people.
Not good.
And I'm like, you should go back to the carnival. And you're like, okay. And you go back to the carnival. I remember it being so much more scary, but I don't know how to describe it. And I don't remember it because it was, like,
it's just, like,
so
the fact
long
that,
ago.
like, I was trying to lure you into a ride, but, like, it wasn't good intentions. It was, like, a demon pretending to be me. Around that same time, I remember you had a dream that took place in our high school, and there were, like, two percussionists who also
oh my
were
God.
demons pretending to be them in
No,
like
they
a
weren't,
classroom.
They weren't demons. They were just faceless. They were just normal people. They weren't bad in any way. They just didn't have faces.
Okay.
And like if you looked at them, you wouldn't know who they were, but I knew who they were. They weren't bad. They were just like normal. They just didn't have faces. That happens a lot. A lot of my dream people don't have faces. Sometimes you don't have faces in my dreams, but, like, I know who you are.
Me too. It's like when you're reading a book and, like, you imagine the character doing things, but, like, you just don't give them a face because that's really hard to do. So it's just kind of, like, a vibe of a person without a face.
I'm just gonna list some other random places on my dream world.
Okay.
And not really go into them, but I'll just list them.
Please do.
So, in Europe, there's this place that's kind of around where Germany is, and it's called Tokyo, Germany. And it has...
That's some, like, Big Hero 6 type shit.
Literally, it's Tokyo and Germany put together. It's, like, in Germany, but it's all Tokyo architecture. And it kind of takes place in, like, the 60s. And I kind of remember what this dream was that took place there. It was kind of like this Hunger Games type thing where there was a bunch of people in this arena, and we had to, like, it was kind of like Maze Runner and the Hunger Games put together, but it was, like, super high tech.
Okay.
There was, like, LED screens.
I had a dream that was
like
Survivor and the Hunger Games put together. That was fun.
That
dream lasted about a week.
That's terrifying.
No, it was really fun. It was just like a little like challenge TV show, but like there were Hunger Games aspects to it in a way I can't describe.
Interesting. There's also, in the U.S., the whole Midwest is just my hometown. What I wrote was there's a high school, a mall, a parking garage somewhere. I don't remember a parking garage. It's essentially my neighborhood, my childhood neighborhood.
Big.
But multiplied. So, you know, instead of other neighborhoods, like across the street, it's just my neighborhood again. In my neighborhood again.
Yeah.
And in each of those neighborhoods, there's different...
Right now, I'm, like, thinking back on, like, all the other dreams that I've had in the last year, and they're, like, slowly coming back to me as we're talking.
In, like, Colorado, there's a huge military lab with a huge satellite, and me and my dad had to, like, destroy the satellite and destroy, like, inside the lab, but the lab was empty. There was, like, nobody in there. And I, like, went to a Jewel-Osco, like... maybe, like, 15 minutes away. And the whole lab and the whole Jewel-Osco was just in the forest, deep in the forest, no civilization, no nothing. Yes. I went to the Jewel-Osco and I was, like, buying stuff, and my dad didn't know I was at the Jewel-Osco. And he walked into the Jewel-Osco to go shopping, and I was like, oh my god, the Jewel-Osco. I'm in the Jewel-Osco and he can't see me, so I had to grab my stuff and pay without him seeing me, and I think I got away, and I went back to the military lab and destroyed it. I think I blew it up. Oh my god, I'm reading this and it's bringing all my dreams back. In the Midwest, there's this huge school. It's nothing like I've ever experienced, like I've never seen this school in real life, but I built this school, and it's like 18 floors, and it's essentially a skyscraper, honestly. but it's like really wide. And it's made out of concrete, but it's essentially like a really cool high school. It's kind of like an unfinished building. Like the top 8 floors are unfinished, and the top 8 floors are also like apartments.
What do you know about your parking garage in your dream? Because I have a repeated dream that takes place in a parking garage.
Literally nothing. I have no idea.
My parking garage dream, I had this a lot in, like, elementary, middle school, I think. And, basically, I can kind of, like, fly when I'm in the parking garage. Like, I have little superpowers. I can fly, and I can breathe underwater. And breathing underwater in a dream is really cool because it's literally just normal breathing.
Oh my god.
But in your dream, you're surrounded by water, and it feels like a nice breath of fresh air.
Yes.
Like, it feels so cool to breathe underwater in a dream.
Dude.
And when I'm in the parking garage, I can jump off a car and fly and also breathe underwater.
Oh my god.
What's
Okay.
up?
So, on the West Coast, on the West Coast in, like, Oregon. No. Northern California. In Northern California, there's this super fancy hotel that I, like, would stay at. And there's, like, this front. Like, imagine essentially a palace.
Is this in a dream?
Yes. Imagine, like, a palace with, like, a huge front garden. That's kind of what the hotel looked like. Kind of
like a Vegas hotel.
No. It's kind of like a... Like, imagine, like...
Oh, I got it. I got an image.
Imagine, like, a giant mansion. Like the Grand Budapest Hotel, but with a huge front garden. Yeah. And in the garden, there's, like, this little... There's, like, an arch, and the arch leads, like, right behind the arch. Like, if you go through the arch, turn left, and you see this sewer grate on the ground. And if you go into the sewer grate, it's like an underwater world underneath it. And you would go through it and go, like, dive through the sewer. And then you would end up in this underwater... Mario. Essentially, yeah. And you would go into this water world. And it's like a huge city of, like, mermaids and fish. And you would I had to, like, pick up this huge, giant sapphire to be able to breathe underwater. And it felt exactly how you described it. It was like it was like a cool, crisp, fresh air breath.
It's cool.
And it's like it's so good.
It's such a good feeling. And for a while, sometimes I forget it was a dream because I've had that dream multiple times. And sometimes I think I actually have breathed underwater before. And then it's like, no, I haven't.
Yeah.
But it was so real.
Yeah.
It felt so real.
Yeah. Oh my god. Okay, there's a Chicago. I have dreams. In my dream world there's this Chicago. And it's essentially just Chicago, but it's covered in vines. Like imagine a jungle in Chicago put together, and there's a bunch of suspended highways in the air. Like, there's a bunch of highways, maybe, like, 50 feet in the air. Like, they're just all in the air for some reason. Like, it's just an easier way to get over buildings and over the city. And some of the buildings are, like, super high. Like, the entrances would be up where the highways are instead of on the ground. And so it's just, like, a super overgrown... overpopulated city with a bunch of highways going through it. Like, imagine a futuristic Chicago that's, like, overgrown with the jungle. That's kind of what this jungle Chicago is like.
I love it. I love jungle Chicago.
And my dreams take place there all the time. I had this one dream where I had to go to this concert, like a classical concert. Or I think I had to perform at one. And I went to Jungle Chicago. And I actually had a dream last month. I wrote it down. Oh my god. I had a dream last month. October 3rd. I was in Jungle Chicago. And, like, the first dream I had in Jungle Chicago happened, like, maybe 3 years ago. And then this dream happened last month. And I was at this high-end restaurant. And I was a server/waitress. And...
oh my god, how do you feel, like, when you unlock a new dream world location? Like, are you like, whoa, that's a new place I haven't been before on the map?
Kinda. I like, if I remember the dream when I wake up, I'm like, whoa, I haven't been there before. I have to put it on my map. Or when I get there, sometimes the places I dream, they're not in the world and they're not on my map. Like, they could never be on my map. They're
I like
just
how you can know.
in
Like,
a
you
vague,
just
yeah.
know it's not
And then
part
I
of the
dream
world.
one time, and I'm like in a new place, and I'm like, this is in my world. I know exactly where I am on my planet. So sometimes it's like
So cool.
on the world, sometimes it's
I
not.
love how you can travel around your planet. Like, you're just like, yeah, I'm going from the US to Germany, Tokyo.
Man, I don't know. There's also, so there's Jungle Chicago. I love Jungle Chicago. It's one of my favorite places. There's nothing bad that happens there. It's just so much fun. There's this, I had this dream where I was on this huge cruise ship. And there was like a 7-8 floor circular, like cylinder building on the cruise ship. That was where school took place. So like we all had classes in the cylinder tower. And then we like lived on the other side of the cruise ship. And the cruise ship was in the Arctic. So it was in the Arctic Ocean. And there was this huge slide that if you went down it, like went around the ship, and then it launched you into the ocean, and you would have to swim back to the boat to get back on. And I think that's how, I think I ended up getting, like, it was either like hide and seek or tag or something, and I ended up getting on the slide and getting launched off the ship. And I was like 3 miles from the ship, and I had to swim back, and then I like woke up or something.
What the fuck?
It's really weird.
Oh my god.
And then there's also this underwater hotel. There's this underwater hotel, and it's in this
You've told me
cave
about the underwater
system.
hotel before.
It's like in a cave system, but it's underwater, and it's like huge and super cool. I can't explain it, but one of all the floors, not all the floors, maybe like 2 or 3 of them, look like that liminal pool space. You know what I'm talking about? Where, like, look up liminal pool space. Or, like, liminal pool.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Room. And it's, like, this really bright pool with, like, waterfalls. That's what kind of, like, 2 or 3 of the floors look like. And it's, like, super interesting. And then, oh my god. Okay, there's this underwater mansion. It's a huge, massive mansion in a cave. So imagine, it's kind of connected to the hotel, but not. It's like maybe the next door. It's like down the street. It's down the cave system. You go down the cave system, there's a giant underwater mansion. The mansion, I wish I could draw it, but I can't. Like, I just wish I could show you what it looks like. It's so epic, and I wish it existed in real life. But you have to, like, take a ship. I remember going there for the first time, and I was in this, like, old, like, pirate ship, and I sailed there, and we had to get off, and it's, like, in this underwater cave system. There's waterfalls all around, and, like, the entrance of the mansion is, like, out of the rock, but the rest of the mansion is inside the rock. So, but there's windows and stuff, so I don't know what that means, but the owner of the mansion changes. And I forget who the first owners were. I think they were like a family member or something. But the second owner was the second owner of this mansion.
Oh my god. I want you to tell him this. Tell him
the
this.
owner, I haven't had this dream in like maybe 3 years or so. But the owner has this demon, kind of like what you had. They had this demon inside of them that they have their good side and then they have their bad side, which is the demon. And it's exactly what you had. And it's so weird. I had the carnival dream, and then I had Gavin as the new owner of the mansion after
That's
you.
So creepy.
But I had the original mansion dream way before the carnival dream. So there's this underwater mansion, you go in it, and it's like super bright. Like there's so much sunlight pooling in from the windows, even though it's underground. Like you look out the window and it's just blinding white. And Gavin kept trying to lead me into this this room, or he tried to lead me to this, like, outdoor balcony area, or this open room, and I just, like, wouldn't go. But there was a tour group. I think you might have been part of this tour group. There was, like, a huge group. He was giving a tour of his house, too, and I was part of it. And everyone else would, like, go into the room, and I was like, I'm not going into the room. So I turned around and, like, explored the rest of the house. And this house is huge. Like,
I want to go.
I wish I could show you the house.
I wish you had, like, an amusement park of your dream world.
That would be terrifying, actually.
Like, Universal with all the different, like, sections.
That would be so cool. That would be so cool.
Or, like, Hollywood Studios, like, that type of place. I want you to have a dream world park. And people can stay in, like, the hotels.
I wish I could, like, plug in my mind into a TV so you could watch my dreams, because I just want to show the underwater mansion to people, and I wish I could draw it, but I can't. God, remember we had that argument about how dreams would
your
project?
brains would transfer
Yeah.
dreams. I do. I hate that argument. I thought about it at the very beginning of this podcast when you asked about, like, REM sleep. And I was like, God damn it. We had that stupid argument when we were 15. I don't.
It was like you think that the TV couldn't display it, but I thought the brain couldn't display it correctly. Or something like that.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into it. Because we'll argue about it.
We're not going to get into it. It doesn't matter. It
would be...
I really don't...
Okay, I want to ask you guys, the viewers, Okay. So, if you plug in your brain into a TV, obviously your dream isn't going to show up 4K picture. Like, it's not going to show up like that. It's going to be blurred colors and pictures and stuff like that. Is that the TV, the technology you're using to project your dream? Is the technology the problem, or is your brain the problem? Because I think it's the brain, because when you dream in your head, it looks clear, but then you try and remember it, and it's kind of blurry, or if you try and explain it or draw it, it's kind of just a blur. It's just like fuzz. It's just like, if you know, when you, like, look at, okay, imagine you have a painting, like a portrait of someone. You have a portrait of someone, and you're like, hey, come look at this portrait, person. And you turn the painting towards them, and they're like, who is this of? It's just like a smeared picture. And you, like, turn the painting around, and the whole portrait is just smeared. And so you can't see who the portrait is of anymore. That's kind of like how I think the brain registers dreams. Like, you can't see them as memories, but they're just smeared portraits.
And I thought that since you can see the dreams, like, as they're happening very well, then your brain is creating the dream in a way that in the moment you could see correctly, but the technology just doesn't exist to transfer that into something someone else can see.
Yeah. So do you guys think it's the brain that's the problem, or the technology? Comment below.
But honestly, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Either way, the picture's gonna show up fucked up.
We were like 15.
We argued
about everything.
for so long, and then we were pissed off at each other.
15, we would argue about like really small differences like that for the longest time and get pissed at each other for
we would
no
argue
reason.
about two relating things, but the outcome was the same. Like, the TV doesn't work, or the brain doesn't work, but either way, the outcome
Either way, it doesn't work.
Either way, the picture is going to be fucked up. Like, it's going to be fucked up.
Yeah, so it doesn't fucking matter.
It doesn't matter, and we have arguments like that all the time.
We were so stupid when we were 15.
It's just so dumb. I don't know why we did that.
That's how I know we've matured since we were 15. Like, sometimes I'm like, I feel like I'm the same as I was when I was 15. But then I think about shit like that, and I'm like, oh my god. No.
Oh yeah, that was really dumb.
We were so dumb. We'd be mad at each other for like an hour, and then like just pretend the argument didn't happen and move on.
Yeah.
It was so weird.
We would like separate for maybe like at least 20 minutes, and then we would meet back up, and we'd be like, yo, hey, how's it going? And we'd be like, nothing. We didn't just
Just,
argue for 2 hours about the same fucking thing.
Yeah, we just like pretended it didn't happen, and it was just a very odd way to cope with it. Like maybe
It's definitely not healthy. Like, don't do that.
It was not.
Don't do that.
Because I feel like we would have like underlying anger at each other for like the next month about it.
Yeah, don't do that. Communicate.
I'm so glad we don't do that. No, because both of us are really bad at communicating. Like, both of us are the type of people who need friends who are good at communicating because we're bad at it.
Yes.
But then we're just friends with each other.
Yes.
And sometimes we get mad at each other because of it.
Yes.
You know when during a marching band season where you have a dream where you're trapped playing the show on a loop?
Oh my god, that happened to me once. I had a dream where I I would play the show beginning to end over and over. There would be a metronome that would be so fucking loud, and it wouldn't stop playing, and I would play it over and over again. No space in between the beginning and the end. It would just go straight back in, loop it over and over. I think I played it like 15 times.
Okay, are you ready for my childhood dreams that I've told people for years?
Yes.
Okay. This first dream, when I retold this dream when I was like 6, I like was crying laughing because it sounded so ridiculous, but I need you to understand that this was a nightmare. This was like a horrifying nightmare when I was 5, but it sounds so funny out loud. All 3 of these do. And I was like crying laughing because I couldn't like get people to take it seriously when I was like 6 years old. So I'm like 4 or 5, right? And my family is at this like haunted hotel, and we go up the stairs to our room with like our suitcases and everything, and my whole family walks in the room in front of me, and I walk in the room last, and I enter the room to find that all of my family members have turned into inanimate objects, like some Beauty and the Beast type shit, but like they can't talk or move. Like they just like fully turn into like completely inanimate objects. My mother turned into a grand piano in this hotel room.
Piano.
My father turned into a hat rack, a coat rack, like that type of thing.
Yeah.
And like my siblings turned into something I don't remember. And this was horrifying at the age of 5 to watch your family members before your eyes turn into inanimate objects.
Oh yeah.
But if I try out loud being like, I had a nightmare you turned into a grand piano, that just sounds so stupid. These dreams are all short because I was a kid. The next one, have you seen the Martha Speak? Did you watch Martha Speaks as a kid?
Yes.
Do you know the episode?
No.
Where it's like a pickle apocalypse and everyone turns into a pickle?
No.
In like pickle costumes. It's like a fake horror movie and it's like a zombie apocalypse, but everyone's in a pickle costume.
I don't remember anything. I just remember the show concept.
That's what I want you to picture in this moment. Now,
It's giving.
I am in
Bob's
Jewel
Burgers.
Osco at the age
Oh my God,
of
Jewel
like
Osco. I
6.
love Jewel Osco.
And it's a normal Jewel Osco trip. I'm there like with my dad, and because me and my dad, when I was little, like my dad took care of me full time, and before I started school, I would just be home with him all day. So when he would have to run errands, I would just go with him all the time. And at Jewel Osco, I'd always go up to the counter and get a free cookie, and then they stopped doing that when we were like 11.
Oh yeah.
But the bakery would give out free chocolate chip cookies, and they were the best chocolate chip cookies in the world. And it was a normal Jewel Osco trip. But then, just like the Martha Speaks episode, I just slowly start seeing asparagus people.
Asparagus.
Right?
People?
I just like I'm like, you're shopping and you round the aisle, and then there's just an asparagus person, like the same way those pickle people look.
Interesting.
And slowly the apocalypse spreads, and the entire store is full of asparagus people, and I'm like trying to escape, but the Jewel Osco doors are locked, and I can't get out. And like my dad turns into an asparagus person. It's like a full zombie apocalypse nightmare, but it's in Jewel Osco, and it's asparagus people.
I also had a Jewel Osco zombie apocalypse dream.
Oh my God,
I was
share.
in Jewel Osco. Like, it was like me and like, it was like right before it closes, you know, like when a store is about to close and there's like 5 people and then like the workers. That's kind of like the vibe it was given. And it was dark outside. And I ended up getting locked in the Jewel Osco after it closed. And I was like, this is fine because I'm surrounded by food, so I'll be fine for the morning. And then there's just a zombie apocalypse outside, and we had to like barricade the doors. I forget who I was with, but I was with like 2 to 5 other people. And
How old were you during this dream?
man, I don't know, 12. But like I was,
That's so funny.
I don't know, maybe 12, maybe 11, maybe 10, maybe 8, 8 to 12. I was around that range. I was just locked in a Julasco, but there was a zombie apocalypse outside, and I just had to survive. I also had to hide from security, so they wouldn't find us. Even though I feel like they should have found us so we could leave. But then there was a zombie apocalypse outside, and we don't want to go outside during the zombie apocalypse, so we had to hide from security.
That's so weird, and I love that.
I have Julasco.
Julasco, man.
I love Julasco. I love it so much. Just
Can we go to Julasco?
the aesthetic of the store. Man, you can go to
love
Julasco whenever you
Julasco.
want. Julasco does not exist where I am.
It doesn't exist where I am either. It's like, okay, this is the third dream. I had this dream when I was in about kindergarten, maybe first grade. I'm leaning towards kindergarten. Basically, I was in the third grade hallway of our elementary school. Like, you know, like the little side hallway where the third graders were? Great. I want to make sure you're picturing that.
I am.
There was a tornado going on outside, and I pulled the fire alarm, and then the tornado cut off half of the third grade hallway, and I'm just standing in the hallway. That's the dream. That's it. But this is one of my earliest memories, is having this weird tornado dream. That reminds me, over the summer, my dad and sister were out of town, right? And I had a dream that there was a tornado, and it blew away half my house. And then I woke up to a tornado siren going off. Like, dead ass in real life, there was a tornado siren going off. Like, our phones went off because there was an active tornado in our town. And because I just had this dream where, like, a tornado blew through our house, I was ready, and I was like, it's gonna cut through my house. So I, like, grabbed important objects and took them to my basement, because I was, like, so sure that the dream was, like, a message to me. Because, do you know how weird that is, to have a dream that there's a tornado, and then you wake up and there's an active tornado?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
And in my dream, my sister was in the house and got, like, blown away by the tornado, but she was out of town, so that, like, wasn't gonna happen. But it was freaky as fuck.
That's funny. Whenever there's a tornado, when I was a kid, I used to, no matter how severe it was, whether it was, like, in the next state over, like, no chance of it being even near us, I would just get all my important stuff, put it in a backpack, and sit in my basement the entire time.
Literally, that's what you gotta do.
Even if it was, like, nowhere near us.
Ready for anything. I was, like, ready to go. I was, like, the man of the house. I was like, okay, there's a tornado. I gotta grab this, and this, and take it to the basement. Like, at, like, 4 a.m., I was ready.
Oh, yeah. Like, my parents would be like, go in the basement and, like, sit there. And I'm like, okay. Expecting them to come in the basement. And then it would be, like, 30 minutes later. I'd be like, why aren't you in the basement? The tornado's come. Why aren't you in the fucking basement? I'm terrified. The house is gonna fucking blow away. Why aren't you in the basement? And they're, like, outside on, like, the back porch, just, like, looking at the sky. Like, the pure Midwest. Like, pull out the lawn chairs. Watch the tornado cross the street. Like, I'm like, why aren't you... we're gonna die.
Oh my God,
we're gonna die. That was me as a kid. And then I, like...
There was, over the summer, we got new neighbors in my backyard, and there was, like, an active, like, severe thunderstorm warning, like, big winds, hail type shit. And they're just sitting out there in the back deck in their little chairs, just, like, looking at the sky. It's dark out. It's, like, nighttime. And they're just sitting out there, and I'm like, they're gonna fucking die.
That's Midwest.
And they're old. They're like in their 60s. And I'm like, yep, that's about right. Okay, so I want to tell you about my dreams that take place in the schools. Specifically, I want to tell you about my tag dream that usually takes place in kind of similar vibe either way at school. Basically, it's just, like, random people in our grade, and we're playing this, like, very extreme game of tag where, like, it's almost like hide-and-seek tag. Like, and, like, you're, like, running through the hallways like these people are gonna fucking murder you, trying not to get tagged, and, like, jumping over shit and, like, cutting through the library in the middle of the school, like, in Eagle Point. And it's so extreme.
Yep.
and I can, like, visualize it, but I don't have any more words for it, but just a very hardcore game of tag in our middle and elementary school. It's so funny.
That sounds actually really fun.
I love it. It repeats. Like, I've had that dream, like, 5 times. It's so fun. I love it.
I feel like I had a dream where we had, like, a huge laser tag game in...
Oh, that sounds fun.
Whether it was high school or middle school, but somewhere. It was, like, huge.
That sounds so fun. I love our dreams. I want to keep dreaming. I love when I have,
I
like,
want
a
to keep
nice little
dreaming.
dream. It's like, oh, I had a silly little story, and then I forgot it. I forget it in, like, 2 minutes. It's like, oh, that was a cute little story time I had that I'm going to forget.
Why do we forget our dreams so fast?
I have no idea. It bamboozles me. I wish we didn't, because I love my dreams. They're such a good time. Like, even if they're nightmares, it's like, wow, that was such an interesting concept. I just remembered a nightmare. Can I tell this story?
Wait, do we go through, like, a period of amnesia when we wake up?
Probably.
Interesting.
That's so weird.
I'm gonna look this up. You can explain your nightmare.
You know, like, when you like, forgot your dream, and then you're, like, eating breakfast, and you see, like, a squirrel out the window, and it something clicks, and you're like, I remember my dream.
I gotta write it down. Where's the give me a pen?
It's like, it just came right back. Like, you just are like I'm eating a little bagel, looking out the window, and I'm watching a squirrel, and I'm like, oh my god, that reminds me of my dream. It came back.
And there's, like, no squirrel in your dream, but it reminds you of, like, this one person that was, like, on a roller
like a
coaster,
platypus.
and you're like,
It reminds... This is a real example. It reminded me of a platypus that was in my dream because I saw a squirrel out my window, and I was like, my dream.
You see a squirrel, it's like, oh my god, that roller coaster that I was on in my dream.
Okay, literally. This dream is, like, a genuine, like, horror movie plot, and it's called The Tiger. Okay. So, my family is, like, at a place. This is such a bad description. Okay. We're in my family is, like, selling stuff at a farmer's market in, like, this grassy lawn, and we're selling stuff there, and me and my mom and my sister are, like, cutting through the lawn, but I realize it's, like, not my mom anymore. Like, something's wrong. Just like when it was a demon in your dreams.
Yeah. It's
just, like, not right. And my mother had been taken by the tiger.
The tiger.
Like, capital T, capital T. It's like, that's, like, the name, the tiger.
Is it an actual tiger or is it a person?
It's not a real tiger. It's, like, an ominous, like... It's kind of like Pennywise. Like, it's just, like, it's concept of a evil being. Basically, my mom was leading me and my sister to this grassy field, so towards a hole in the ground. And basically how the tiger works is, like, someone gets led into the hole in the ground and falls in, and then they become the tiger's, like, property, and their body and soul is, like, kept in this... Have you seen the Gravity Falls episode where there's, like, the infinite tunnel?
Yes.
In the ground?
Yes.
That's what I want you to picture.
Okay.
What this hole was like. It's, like, all black, and you're just kind of, like, the bodies are just floating there, like,
okay.
when you're falling through the tunnel.
Yeah.
And, like, they're, like, kind of, like, effectively dead. Their, like, bodies and souls are trapped, and then the tiger, like, duplicates them and, like, is in control of them and sends them out to lead more people to the hole. And, like, their eyes become orange, like a tiger. And it's, like, this very ominous voice that's, like, the hole in the ground opened up, and me and my sister almost went into it, and then, like, I stopped us, and, like, you could, like, hear the tiger, like, talking from the void, and, like, you could see the people floating down there, and there was this other family that was following us towards it, and they almost, like, went in the hole too, and I stopped them, but then, like, the tiger, in, like, possessing other people, attacked, and I ended up sacrificing my little sister. Like, I pushed her in front of me so they would get her instead of me.
Wow.
Like, goddamn. I said,
wow.
And I, like, ran, and I ran, and I ran, and I ran, and, like, these, like, tiger minions were following me, trying to catch me. And I remembered it a lot better at a time. This is about a year-old dream. I feel like I told you about it when it happened, because I was so excited about it, because it was, like, a very elaborate plot.
Did you?
Like, it was, like, a full-on horror movie.
This is the first time I've heard this.
I told a lot of people about it when it happened, and I thought I told you, especially because you like tigers, and it was like, it felt like a movie plot, but maybe I didn't. But so I don't remember it as well as I used to, but that's like the gist of it, and it was really cool and vivid.
It sounds interesting. I can kind of imagine it.
It's so cool. I should have written it down, like, when it happened, because I had more detail at the time. But it was so cool.
So do you only die from car crashes? You never died from anything else?
I think once in like a weird fighting dream, I got stabbed and died, but I pretty much only die from car crashes. Like, I get in a car crash, the dream goes black. Like, many times it's happened to me, and so I have a fear of car crashes, which is why, like, when we drive on the mountains, I get kind of freaked out, like, on our road trip. Yeah. And I made you drive in the mountains because I couldn't do it, and I was, like, freaked out the whole time because I die in car crashes, specifically falling off mountains, often in my dreams.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the only way I die in my dream. If I die another way, it's very uncommon. Like, maybe once I got stabbed. It's very scary. Like, I'm in a car, it go crash. That's why watching the beginning of Megan freaked me out, because Megan isn't a scary movie. It's a PG-13 horror movie, whatever. But the very opening scene is a family, like, getting hit by a snowmobile in a blizzard, and then the screen goes black, and I'm like, oh my god, it's like my dreams.
Interesting. I've died from monsters. I've been shot. I fell off a building. I've drowned.
Shit.
I've been through it all.
Like, anything else doesn't kill me. Like, if I'm in water, like, I swim or I breathe underwater. If I fall off a building, I'm fine. If I get shot, I'm fine. Only car crashes kill me. It's so weird. So I have, like, this weird idea that I'm, like, destined to die in a car crash.
Have you ever, like, fallen in a dream and then it, like, wakes you up in real life and you think you're falling in real life and you, like, shoot up in your bed?
Yes. Yes.
Those are
oh my
so
God.
funny as a concept.
It's especially weird when you're, like, almost falling off your bed. This freaked me out when I learned that during, like, REM is when you dream, and I learned that when you're in REM, your body's paralyzed and can't move, and this confused me because once I acted out a dream in my bed, basically, I have soccer dreams a lot. I played soccer for, like, a good 10 years growing up. It's very, like, ingrained in my soul. Like, I know soccer like the back of my hand. So I have dreams where I play soccer all the time, even today, and I haven't played in, like, a good 6 years. And once when I was, like, 10 years old, I had a dream that playing soccer, and when you're on, like, a sports team, like, you put all your hands in the middle, and you go, like, 1, 2, 3, team, and shoot your hands up. And I woke up in my bed, and I was just sitting in my bed straight up like this, like, with my hand in the middle for the cheer. Like, I was sat up with my hand straight out, and I woke up like that. And
funny.
Then, like, as I got older, I found out, like, you're supposed to be paralyzed while you're dreaming. And I'm like, well, I fully acted out this dream, so...
Interesting.
Someone's lying here.
Liar. I looked up...
Liar, I moved in my dream.
I read this article about why we forget our dreams, and their conclusion was some dreams are just not memorable, so your brain just throws them out, like a date or a name or a meeting.
Oh, but some of my dreams are so good, and I still forget them.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not... no, that's not right.
That's not it. That can't be right. Okay. Would you like to hear about my long dreams now?
Yes.
They won't take long to tell, because if you can't realize yet, I'm very bad at describing my dreams, because they're just, like... It's like a little movie I can watch in my head, but it can't write it. I can't word it.
Yes.
But it's so vivid in my brain. Okay, this dream happened maybe 2 years ago. Like, I feel like I'm maybe, like, senior in high school. And one of my aunts has a very large backyard. Like, it's, like, big. It's fenced in, and there's, like, a pool, and then there's a lot of grass, and then there's, like, a little, like, really, like, you know, like, those really tall grass plants that are, like, taller than me, but they're just, like, almost look like corn vibes, but there's like really tall grass.
I get you.
There's like those in like the very back of the yard. It's just a very large yard.
Okay, yeah.
In my dream, kind of took place there, but the yard was even bigger and it led into like a haunted forest. And I had this dream where I started at the house, and for some reason I had to go on these like trips in and out of the forest, and the forest was creepy. It like gave like Alice in Wonderland vibes. Like this weird forest where like things weren't quite right, and it was like hard to get out, but for some reason I kept having to go back in. I don't fully remember. And there was this like tree that I went to that led to, the best way I can describe it is like the Upside Down from Stranger Things. And I went back to the house, and I'm in the house, but the house is bigger than it should be too, just like the yard is bigger than it should be. The house has like infinite rooms, it feels like. And there was something chasing me, but I don't know what was chasing me. But I knew something bad, something very, very evil was after me. So I'm hiding in the house, kind of like in like Stranger Things when like Will was hiding in the Upside Down. I am hiding in the house, and I'm like crawling through like these like various tunnels in the house. Like in the attic especially, there were a lot of tunnels that like went through the house, but they were pitch black. Like it was dark here. Like this place I was dark. And I'm crawling through these dark tunnels to different parts of the house to like hide and run from the thing that's after me. And at one point I reach like the very top attic, and there's like a little ghost girl who's trapped there, but she's not mean. Like she's like a nice, it's kind of like Coraline, like there's just like the kid spirits like trapped in the place. It's like that. She's just trapped in the attic, but the attic is like a good hiding spot from the thing that's chasing me. So I stay in the attic for a long time, a very, very long time, hanging out with this girl's spirit, because the thing can't find me there. And it's a dark attic, and there's a lot of old stuff there. And eventually I like make a plan to get back to like the right world, and like away from the thing. And I like crawl through the tunnel, and the thing's like figured out I left the attic and like is after me hardcore. And I'm crawling as fast as I can, and there's this gap in the tunnel that goes over like a public like a Lifetime Fitness YMCA type of place, like a public basketball court, swimming pool type of vibe. And the tunnel cuts off, and there's a gap, and then there's the other part of the tunnel, and I basically have to jump from one side of the tunnel across to the other and crawl through that tunnel, and it'll take me back up to my world. And I make it, but the thing was like right on my heels, and I was in this other world for like 6 months. Like a very long time passed before I woke up, and it was terrifying to be in this like upside down universe that was very, very dark with like a thing that was after me.
So you were just hiding and running from this thing for 6 months?
Yes, like dead ass. I'm crawling through like tunnels in like an upside down version of my aunt's house that's much bigger than it should be. And this like evil something is after me, and I'm terrified of it catching me. And it just was like 6 months of that. And it was so scary.
That's horrible.
I know, it was so bad. Oh my god. Like, yeah, I just have dreams that are very long, but sometimes most of my dreams are a normal amount of time, like normal dream length, where that's just like, yeah, that's a dream, that's like, that's an episode of a story. But sometimes they're like that, where they last days or weeks or months, and it's so interesting.
I think my longest
because so much happens, and I wake up with so much.
I think my longest dream was like 2 days, and I lived through those 2 days where I was like I was supposed to go to dinner with my family, but then I like left for some reason, and I had to crawl through this tunnel to leave the restaurant. And
tunnels, man, they get you. But
it was like a vent, and I crawled through the vent, and I ended up outside this like this like building, and I slept in like the corner.
The tunnels in my house dream were also like the Coraline tunnels.
Ooh.
From like both worlds. I had like, it was like a very like Coraline Stranger Things coded dream. Like a lot of aspects of both of those concepts were in my dream. Like the tunnel from like the tiny door was like what the tunnels in the house were like that I was crawling through.
That's spooky. I had
Yeah.
Halloween dreams where one of the Halloween dreams I would have is it would be my house, like my childhood home, but it would be like hollow. I don't know how to describe it any other way, but it was just only wood. There was no carpet,
spooky.
there was no color, it was just all wood. And there was ghosts possessing this one room in the house. And my family would just live in the house with this one room possessed by ghosts. And we wouldn't go in it. And there was like this babysitter, like, you know the babysitter from The Incredibles? I think it was kind of like her. But it wasn't her. It was just like a character that was like her. And I don't know what her purpose was, but one day the ghost escaped. I think we're trying to like capture, like kill the ghost in some way, and instead we like released them from the room, and they ended up taking over our house, and we had to move out and find a new home.
God
it was really
damn,
scary.
That's terrifying. Holy shit! Why can dreams be so scary? Why our brain do that to us?
I don't know.
Okay. The final dream I would like to share, because this is a long podcast.
Yes.
This happened. I watched it for the first time, like the 2016 or whatever version, 2017. I don't know. And this was around the time we watched Nope. If that gives you like a good time frame.
Yeah.
It was around that same time, and this dream lasted weeks, and it had a lot of, you know, like when like the plot changes in your dream and it's almost like a new dream. It was like that.
Yeah.
Like that kept happening, but it was all one dream. I am so certain, like how you just know something's in your dream world. This was like consecutive because it was like it just connected. Like the dots connected. It was one timeline. This was one dream. Basically, the cast of this dream is me and some of my college friends. It is random people who go to my college that I don't know. It is characters of Stranger Things, and occasionally I was not myself, and instead I was some people from the Stranger Things characters. Which is unusual for my dreams, to not be me. Like, sometimes I was just Mike Wheeler or Jonathan Byers, just, like, in the dream. They were just also there.
Weird.
And then the villain of the dream was Pennywise. And we are, like, a group, and we get split up into...
Wait, how many people are in this group? Like 20?
It was... we get split up, but, like, let's say there's, like, 10 people.
Okay.
And we get split up, like, into 3 different years that are, like, each, like, a year apart in, like, groups of, like, 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So, like, 12 people, 4 people each year. Like, we get split up in this, like, weird time warp thing.
Yeah.
And but, like, Pennywise is, like, omnipotent. Like, he's caught up on all the times.
Yes.
Like, he's, like, a time-traveling guy.
Yes.
And he's, like, after us. He's after us hardcore. And, like, he's after us. And, the government is really not a fan of time-traveling teenagers. Fighting a clown villain. Like, the government is, like, also kind of pissed at us because, like, what the fuck is going on? The government's is mad
just
because
there.
Imagine you're just a government, and then all of a sudden, like, a time-traveling Tyler and Mike Wheeler just, like, appear, and they're, like, trying to fight a clown demon. Like, what do you do as the FBI? And At
Actually,
one
this
point
would be
in
the
the dream, I
CIA's
remember like
job.
flashes. Okay, fine, it was the CIA. And at one point in this dream, because I have like different parts of the dream that I remember, and I think this part occurred like first in the timeline. Me and Mike Wheeler and a couple other people in the group. 11 was there.
Yeah.
Some people from college were there. Like, it's like 5 of us in a group, and we're in one of the time places. And we're in this, like, basement trying to, fight Pennywise, whatever. And the CIA burst through, and they're, like, pissed at us. But there's this, like, big metal machine in this basement that we, like, want to investigate and, like... No, it's, like...
No.
It has something to do with the plot. Listen, it has something to do with the plot, but basically the FBI knows that we are connected to this large circular metal machine and knows that, like, we can solve it. And the FBI is also invested in this machine.
Okay.
And we're like, okay, yeah, like, we can solve it, just let us go in. And the machine, like, crushes whatever's inside of it. It's like a ticking time bomb. It, like, slowly crushes whatever's in it or something. And we're like, yeah, we'll solve it, just, like, give us a couple hours, we'll figure it out. Like, we're smart, we can do this. But the CIA wants to make sure we solve it, so they trick Mike Wheeler into going inside and lock him in. And that way we have to solve the machine to turn it off. It's like we're disarming a bomb because they know that, like, we'll be very invested in it if it's, like, we have to solve it to keep him alive. Sometimes I had Mike's point of view in the machine. Sometimes I had my own point of view outside the machine.
Interesting.
And we, like, solve it, but, like, right as it kills everything inside is, like, when we solve it, but inside the machine, there's this, like, Greek writing on the wall. It was, like, a trick. You think if you're trapped inside, you have to look at this, like, one thing to, like, stop it from the inside to save yourself, but it's, like, a trap. And what you really have to do is read the Greek writing on the wall, and it tells you to, like, it's like a riddle, but it basically tells you to go inside the parts in the inside, and then you won't get crushed. And Mike, like, figures out the riddle and does it so he doesn't die, and then we solve it and, like, get him out, unlock the machine.
So it's kind of like
get him out, and then we, like, kill everyone in the CIA because they're bitches. And
so it's kind of like a
What were
weird
you saying?
Saw movie.
yes, but that I'm not done. Like, that was, like, scene 1 of, like, 6 that I remember.
Interesting.
In like, in another one of the years, like, I know, like, Joyce and Hopper and Jonathan are there, and in another one of the years, like, that's where, like, Lucas and Max were split into, and, like, some random people from college. Okay, fast forward
Wait. So, were
Yeah.
you in all the timelines, or were you swapping perspectives?
I was just, like, I was only in one of the timelines, I think, but I was, like, very occasionally I would get, like, a little, like, bird's eye view. Here's what's happening in the other timeline, just to keep me up to speed, like, because my brain's running the whole dream operation, but,
Yeah.
like, and there's, like, 3 timelines happening,
Yeah.
but, like, I'm only in one of them, but my brain still knows what's happening in all of them, so
Yeah.
very occasionally I had to get, like, a little snippet of, like, the other timelines.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and
Makes sense.
okay, fast forward a little bit. Now, the Stranger Things characters are less important, and my college friends are more important in this scene. And we are in, like, a facility. This facility has, like, a main congregation area. It has a large gym with rock climbing walls and other gym equipment. And it has a balcony looking over the gym. And then it also has, upstairs, it has a room with a lot of, like, animal pet cages, and then a bunch of other various rooms upstairs that, like, lead into other back room type of things. Okay, now, everyone in this facility is, like, a bunch of people at my college, including my college friends, and we are aware that, like, Pennywise is gonna kill a lot of people, and for some reason, we get the impression that out of all of the, 200 college kids in this facility, only 2 of us are gonna survive. So to pick the winner, we have a gym competition, and, to pick which 2 are gonna survive, and we split, everyone in the college into people who are athletic and people who are not athletic, just, based on appearance. And at first, the athletic people have, a fitness competition, and the most fit person is one of the winners. And then the other people have a fitness competition, and then that winner also, will get to live when, Pennywise comes to kill us all. I don't know why, it's just how dreams work. Dreams just have weird plot lines. That doesn't make any sense saying it out loud, but it was just, that's what was going on. I didn't pick it.
Okay.
And
I didn't pick it, but my brain did.
I didn't choose it, it's just the dream. And because we know the rest of us are gonna die and we don't know who's it gonna be, all the college students who have pets are very concerned because we have pets that we're supposed to take care of, but we might be dying shortly. So we need to put our pets in a safe location, and upstairs there's a little animal shelter. So the animal shelter is full because everyone is taking their pets to the animal shelter, and if they decide if they're one of the winners, they'll go back and get their pet, but if not, they want their pet to be somewhere safe. So I'm taking my black cat Eclipse, and then all of my friends who have pets are also taking their pets. So I have a friend named Mikey who has a cat named Zen. I've never met Zen, but Mikey and Zen were in my dream taking their pets to the pet place. And the pet place is full. There's no cages left to put our pet in, so we just kind of leave them in the animal shelter just loose because we want them somewhere safe. And shenanigans occur with the cats. But that'll come later. So we go back downstairs and we do the fitness competition. I don't remember who wins. It doesn't end up mattering anyway. But it's a whole, rock climbing, lifting weight competition. It's kind of like the Hunger Games where you can, display your choice of fitness, what you're good at. And, everyone else who isn't going is over the balcony watching.
Yeah.
And it was, it was a long scene, but it doesn't end up mattering. So I won't go into too much detail. And basically, we go back upstairs, and we find that our cats have been loose and just, fucking around. And we take our cats, we just, try and get our cats. But in, the back room of the animal shelter, Pennywise does, one of his tricky little, scary hallucination attacks. And it's scary, and we get our cats and we leave that room. But we're still upstairs. And Eclipse starts exploring. She's just, a little explorer, poking around the walls. And, okay, this is my favorite part of the dream. Eclipse basically keeps finding these little breaks in the wall that open up to secret rooms that end up being really important just by doing her little exploring cat shenanigans. And she keeps finding little holes in the wall that end up leading to drains because Pennywise always attacks through drains cuz sewer. And
Yeah.
He doesn't know we're getting close to finding him because Eclipse is just being such a good girl. She's just poking around, and she's oops, this wall gives way, and the wood fell off, and now I'm going into the wall because there's a hole in the wall. And we're oh my god, good job, Eclipse. And just follow her and follow the pipes inside the wall. But then I decided I don't want her to get hurt, so I take her back to the animal shelter, and I find a cage and I put her in there because I don't want her to get killed. And then we follow the pipes all the way to the heart in this timeline of Pennywise's base, and we attack him real good, and we escape the house. But then we realize we left our cats inside, so we re-enter the building where Pennywise is and get our cats, and there's another big fight where we attack Pennywise and pretty successfully, we don't kill him, but we injure him. And then we escape again, and we go to this car that's parked outside that maybe is how we time traveled in the first place, I don't remember, and be time travel back to the correct time at the same time everyone else is finishing their missions in their other times. And then we're back to the present, and then we someone gets punched. I don't remember who gets punched, and then we, like, fight Pennywise again. And that dream lasted days, maybe a week. It was such a long dream. And basically I woke up, and it was, like, fresh. And I just, like, told my roommates were awake, and I just go up to them, and I'm like, I had a dream where we were fighting Pennywise, but it was Stranger Things, and then we time traveled, and then, like, Eclipse saved the day, and then we had to go back in the house and get Eclipse, and then I, like, went underwater, and I had this, like, magic spell I could use to get a shield so Pennywise wouldn't attack me, and then, like, we time traveled back, and someone got punched, and they were just looking at me like, what the fuck are you talking about? It was the weirdest fucking dream, and it was so long and detailed. Yeah.
I'm trying to picture it, but it's dream. So it's confusing. But I
can
kind of
picture
get
it.
it.
It's there. It's all there for me. It's all there for me. But no words. No.
No.
It's like a little movie in my head. But usually you can describe a movie out loud. But it's so, like, foggy that I can't.
Yes.
Yeah.
I found this piece of information about dreams and why we forget them. Apparently, we forget our dreams really quickly after we wake up because dreams happen in the same part of the brain where our muscles are being controlled. And so, if you wake up and immediately start moving, all your dreams will probably be easily forgotten, which kind of makes sense because when I wake up I move and then my dream is instantly blown away. But if you kind of sit within, like when you wake up you don't move and you kind of just take in your dream and you try and remember it and you wake up really, really slowly, I think you could remember your dream. And I might experiment with that.
That is fascinating. I'm also going to experiment with that. We're gonna do this podcast again, like for funsies.
Thanks, guys, for listening to our dreams in my dream world and your long dreams and your scary dreams. And thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed and you comment and subscribe and you like, and you can go check out our other videos because we are posting videos, but nobody's watching them. And I feel like you guys should definitely watch them because they're good videos.
They're really
I
great.
think they're good. They're not as good as our old videos, and I used to think our old videos were trash and cringy, but they're actually my favorite. And you guys should go watch our old videos and our new videos, and comment and like, subscribe.
They're both good in different ways.
All of them. And I hope you continue listening to Telly Talk next week.
We'll be talking about what's on the telly.
The firefighters! Bye, guys.